This is the shore, and the waves keep crushing in.
So I decided to go to the Bundeswehr. It was in the year 1994, long time ago.
Was your father was deployed abroad in conflict areas?
Yes, of course. He was 5 times in a mission in Bosnia and also in Kosovo.
Did he ever talk to you about?
Yes, we talked a lot about our missions, and but it's sometimes it's a little bit difficult because my mother is in between, and it was not easy also for her, especially in the time when my father was abroad and I was abroad, and she was alone at home with all her fears.
What did your father tell you about the missions?
The first times it was the very first time in my mission, I was with my father in the same camp, and so we have daily contact, and that was very good. And but he was before in the UN mission after the Yugoslavia war, and then he was in Bosnia, and it was only in his in the leading area, and he made this registration for the secret things. I don't know the correct word for this. And then he was in Kosovo, and in Kosovo his job was to speak with warlords, with some village people about weapons and hidden weapons and so on. Yes, that was his mission.
Were you aware on the situation in Kosovo before when you arrived, or were you surprised?
No, yes, I was surprised. It was a different life with a lot of people in small spaces and 24/7. It was not so easy, but the first 3 missions, it was not so dangerous like my 4 falling missions in Afghanistan. And my first mission in Afghanistan, 2002, yes, I was very surprised about the culture, about the country. Afghanistan is a rough country with beautiful mountains and a lot of desert, and the culture, it was totally different to the Western culture with this people with a burqa. They wearing the women wear burqa, and the men with the traditional clothes and the beards and the hats. And yes, it was totally different. But I was surprised because they were always friendly to me and always friendly to the Bundeswehr. And yes, it was the first 2 missions. It was easy because I thought we will bring hope, we will bring freedom, we will bring education and so on. And after this, after 2003, the next 2 missions, it was more dangerous, and it was a little bit of hopeless. Yes.
Okay, so in your training in the Bundeswehr, they didn't teach you about the culture from Afghanistan culture. What did you learn in the Bundeswehr about Afghanistan?
Yes, a little bit, but it's Afghanistan is very complicated, and they told us about the culture, about the history, the conflicts, the different ethnies, the warlords, the drugs, and so on. But it was not so much because the most training is more in how to wear your weapon, how self-defense, how to go outside from the camp, and so on. And I decided to read on myself, by myself, about Afghanistan, and so I think I was prepared for the country. Yes.
What did you do in the first mission, your first time in Afghanistan? What year was this again?
I was stationed in Kabul in the field hospital. I'm a nurse and also special education. ICU, intensive care unit, and emergency room, and so on. And this was my first, on the first 3 missions. This was my job to work there.
What exactly did you do there?
The main part was to treat our own soldiers or the international soldiers, but in the first time we treat also Afghan people, especially children. We did some little surgeries with great effort, and yes, we did a lot for the Afghan people with little medical inventions.
So you went every day out of the camp or to the field hospital, or was the field hospital in the camp?
The field hospital was in the camp, but we go outside. We went outside and to Afghan clinics, very poor medical clinics with no equipment, and so we had agreement that the Afghan people can come to our hospital for some medical treatment.
Did you always have weapons there?
Yes, of course. You have always to wear your weapon, mostly rifles and pistols, and yes, you have to.
And
also inside the camp, yes.
And what kind of injuries did you shared a camp with Dutch soldiers? No. Is that the camp close to which camp was this?
Camp Warehouse. It was a big camp on the road to Bagram, and it was a big camp with multinational armies. It was a multinational mission with Dutch people, British, Spanish, French, Hungarian, Danish, everything. Yeah, and also in the field hospital we were a multinational team. I had in my unit, I had some French people and Hungarian and Dutch, and yes. Yeah.
And what kind of injuries did your colleagues have? What did you get? There's a sickness from the sand or from the heat, or what kind of injuries?
The injuries and the sickness was a lot of, yes, it's not so easy to be in a very hot country, and the water was sometimes not so good, so they have diarrhea or like this, and so we treat this, and but we have also some accidents bad accidents, and later on we had some wounds from shoots or from IEDs or something like that.
And did you all meet them while training? Did you go in international NATO or trainings? Your colleagues that you did work with in the camp?
Later, you had some training with the other countries, but in the beginning of the ISAF mission, you were on your own training. So we have only the language was English, and so that was our common part.
And were there Americans in the camp?
Yes, but not so much, because they are stationed in Bagram, and so we saw them only some in the Stab, im Stabsgebäude, in the leading area, some high US officers, but we have not so much contact to the US Army because they have their own camp in Bagram. But sometimes they visited us, and I met US Marines and the little soldiers with low ranks. They were very hard, rough, not well educated. My English was better than the English from these Marines, and yes.
And how often would you go to this to Basra to see the high officers?
In the high officers in our leading area, I saw them every day in the dining room, and I was 2 times in Bagram, in the camp of the US Army.
So
in the beginning. Later on, in Masai Sharif, the big camp, there were a lot of US Army soldiers, and so, but I was only 2 times in Masai Sharif. I was my last mission to the 2010. I was in Kunduz.
How was Kunduz?
Kunduz was a little bit smaller than Kabul, and a little bit, not Kabul, Camp Warehouse, but smaller than Masai Sharif. Then maybe 1,800 soldiers, mostly Germans. We had some US soldiers. They were pilots. One of my friends, she was pilot. And she fly the Black Hawk, and we have 2 Belgian soldiers. That was all in Kunduz.
And do you have often time then to hang out with them, or when would you see them?
Yes, I had a lot of contact to the soldiers, because Abby, my pilot friend, she was sometimes in our area, and in my last mission I was in the office of the psychologists, and so I have to spoke always with a lot of soldiers, and so I spoke a lot. I spoke with the female soldiers. I made coffee meeting in Deutsch Kaffeekränzchen, only with women, and so she was there, and the Belgian female soldiers, and we had civilian US citizen, and he had a little, like a bar or something like that, and every day you can go there, and you can they made barbecue and so on. You can eat there, and you can drink something. Yes.
So let's go back to so the third mission you said was the scariest from Afghanistan.
And I think that the fourth mission in 2010 was the scariest, because in 2010 we had a lot of fallen soldiers, and we had a lot of trouble there. We had a lot of fights, and it was really war situations. And so we didn't go outside without an order or something else. Only the infantry, but the normal soldiers inside, they were stayed inside, and you needed a permission to go outside. So you have to be inside the camp. And we had a lot of trouble. The camp, a lot of missiles over the camp, and yes, what was not so easy.
Was it different to Kosovo?
I think so, because Kosovo was only 1999 in the beginning, very heavy, a lot of fights and so on. And after this, it was stabilized, and some conflicts. But in Afghanistan, from 2002, every year it got more conflicts, and I think that was a big problem, because Afghanistan and Kosovo, they have different culture, different history, and different wishes in their country.
How?
I think in Kosovo it was only two groups, and in Afghanistan you have so many ethnies and so many groups. You have warlords with they have their own point of view, and yes, in Kosovo you see your enemy, because in Kosovo maybe they have her own, they have their own uniform, but in Afghanistan, you don't see a Taliban inside the normal community, and it's a big problem. So when they are in fights, so they can hide inside a village between women, between children or older people, and you don't recognize them, because they look like the other one. Yes.
And how would that be? What in Afghanistan? Would you have you ever met a warlord, or what would the Afghan people tell you in the hospital? Could be.
I don't know if I ever met a warlord, because they didn't come and say, hello, my name is Hasari Wapapa, and I'm a warlord from, no, this didn't happen. I don't know, maybe I met a Taliban, I don't know, but some Afghan people, they said we have to be carefully to trust some other people, but you know the warlords on the capture and kill list. Capture and kill is the name from the US military, with the big warlords, but I think they will never go to an army camp, whatever. But maybe some little warlords from little regions, whatever. But you don't know. It's enemy or it's a friend. It's very, very difficult.
So you have to be all the time really aware wherever you go.
Yeah. Yes, in the beginning I was very blue-eyed. I trusted everybody. That's my natural character. And after the explosion on our bus in 2003, we had a lot of very injured soldiers and 4 fallen comrades. 3 of them, I know them very well. After that, you have to be very aware, and I don't want to, but I have to. Yes.
And were you good equipped there?
I think for the beginning we had good equipment, maybe the best in Afghanistan. Our medicine products were the best. We had a lot of medical equipment, high medicine equipment, like normal hospital in Germany with respirators. We had a SCAT scan, we had computer tomography, we have everything there. Very good equipment. But this was only the medicine. But my comrades, I think, after this thing happened in 2003, we were not so well with the armed vehicles till this explosion on the bus. We drove with normal jeeps. We drove with normal buses. We were very blue-eyed, and after this we had heavy armed vehicles, and after this, especially 2008, 2009, 2010, we need more security, we need more better weapons, and so we had some tanks in Kunduz, and yes, that was the one side. On the other side, our uniform, our protection was not so good. A lot of soldiers bought tactical jackets or better underwear because it's very cold there, like this. And I think that was a problem. Yeah.
In Kosovo, did you experience, or because I read about and I got told by something about all the drugs fights, gangs, and the abuse of the woman there.
My father was in Kosovo. I was not there, but I know that from my father and also from our leader of Bund Deutscher Einsatzveteranen, Bernhard Drescher, there were a lot of weapons, a lot of drugs, and a lot of abuse of women, and also abuse of children. And so that was his problem, to got PTSD. Now he is healed, but that was his moralic trauma, to see a big black Cadillac in Kosovo, and to see a little child on the hand of a big man, and Bernhard asked, what will they do? And yes, they will say they will sell this little child, this little girl, and he couldn't do anything about that, and that is his trauma and his yes, his trauma. Yeah. And in Afghanistan, yes, big problems with drugs, and yes, but it was not so obvious like in Kosovo.
What do you mean with problems of drugs in Afghanistan?
You see when you drove over the land, and you see a lot of fields with very nice picture in my eye. You see a lot of opium field. You see what the name, the poppies.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you know, okay, this is not for only for decoration. There are a lot of drugs, and the US Army, they burned a lot of these fields, but inside a village or inside walls, sometimes you can catch a little of this little poppy fields, and yes, you know, this is not for themselves, it's for the market, and yeah, that's a problem. And also drug problem was inside the soldier community. I don't think so much in the German army, but I know about the US Army. It's not allowed to drink. It's also not allowed to take drugs. But when they go outside in a mission, in a fight or so on, they took some drugs. Yeah.
But they had mostly air. They were mostly in air, no? The Americans. They did lots of air fights and.
They no, they did everything. I think in especially in the south, and especially in on the border to Pakistan, they had a lot of fights. And but the big for us, it was the best that they have aircraft
Equipment.
supports, because we have nothing. We have no drones. We have no fighting jets. Sorry, I don't know the correct name. We have no helicopters to take our wounded soldiers outside the battlefield. So that was the best that we were with the US Army, because without this we had more fallen soldiers and more severe wounded soldiers.
Before you went to the Bundeswehr, did you hear about PTSD? About
No, not really. During my education as a nurse, I was in a hospital in Regensburg. It was a psychiatric, yes, ward, and there was one patient, and he had a trauma from the Second World War, and my colleagues told me that is from this war, and this was the first time. It was 1991, and they told me about this, but after this I never met a man with PTSD.
How was your Bundeswehr training?
In the beginning, the first time,
Yeah.
I was in a Sanitätseinheit. I don't know the English word. Yeah. In Munich, and I did everything like my male comrades, the same training, the same hard training, and yes, with shooting and with march and with survival training and so on. We did everything like the others, and it was 3 months. And after this, I was in Amberg. Maybe you know it. It's there was a hospital from the Bundeswehr, and I was on the surgery ward. And so, and after this, I was on my first mission in ex-Yugoslavia, and after this, I made my further education as ICU anesthesia nurse. And between these years, I was in every training. You need to be a sergeant or so on, tactical training, leadership training, and so on.
What's tactical training?
Tactical training is how to lead a group, how to it says the military part, we say the green part, because I was a nurse in the hospital. That's the white part, and we were in the green part. You learn a lot of fights, how to take a wounded soldier outside the battlefield, and so on. That's the green part of the sanitäter training. Yeah.
And what was this scary? Did you go into training like where the trainers, the recruiting sergeants, were they really scary, or were they abusive, and or?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes, I hated my group leader. She was so awful. She was yeah, not abusive, but she didn't like me. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm a nurse, and I was 22, and I had a big mouth, and maybe this was a problem. And she was mostly hard to me. I have to walk. I have to walk as first. I had to go first. I had to go down first. Yes, it was not easy, but I thought by myself, it was my recruiting. I was a volunteer, not. It was not like the other soldiers that you have to go to the Bundeswehr for a year. I want to go, and I wrote the contract for 4 years, and so I was strong, and I didn't want to cry or to show some weakness. So I think that's was good for my life to go through this time. Yeah.
And did you? So you were going into this that training was hard. You probably grew up around lots of soldiers, and your father would have prepared you, know?
No, I was not aware. I had no problems with my comrades. Before you go to training, okay, I thought maybe it's too heavy because it's always very it's always very heavy. It's always you need a lot of power, and maybe I thought by myself, only thoughts, I hope I will get this. I hope I will get through this. But after this, I was proud to take the to take this and go through this. Yes.
How on your first mission to Afghanistan, how often did you go on holidays? How long was this mission?
And no holidays. The first round was 5 months. The second was 3.5. The third was about 5 months, and the last one was always 5.5 months. No holidays.
And what did you do in your free time there? Do you have lots of free time in Afghanistan? Were you ever bored?
I was never bored because I was from the first time I was a unit leader, and so I was verantwortlich. I was responsible. I was responsible for all things what happened in my unit, and so I was always there. I was always with them. So my soldiers, they needed a lot of education in the medicine products and so on, and so I made this education with them. So my free time, so I was with some other special forces sometimes, but mostly I was in my unit. And my last mission in Kunduz, I was psychology sergeant, and my job was to speak with all comrades and to make some crisis intervention. Yes, crisis intervention, and so I was there for them. And they want to speak with me mostly in the night after the end of duty, and it was mostly after midnight, and yeah, I had no many sleep time in this mission.
Why would the soldiers need first aid training?
Because in the when you go outside in a fight and your comrade is wounded, so you have to take make a first aid to stop bleeding, or to hold the breath open, or something like that, till the medicine personnel come and take this wounded comrade out. But every soldier needs first aid training. It's very important.
But
because
you did this in Kunduz.
bitte?
But you did this in Kunduz.
They I didn't do this in Kunduz. I was with a psychologist, but my comrades, they did a lot of first aid on the wounded soldier. We had a lot of fights. We had a lot of fallen and wounded soldiers, and yes.
Sorry, but you said that that you have to teach them about medicine.
Oh, this was in the first 3 missions.
Okay, but that was also first aid. You to teach them that in the missions.
First aid, it's more than this. It's how to treat patients on the ICU, how to handle the respirator, how to handle the ECG, how to handle this equipment. Because my soldiers are different. They had their education was from only first aid soldier to high educated ICU nurse. So,
Okay.
but we have to be always in training. So you have to be, you have to do a lot of education with the equipment. Yeah.
You did psychology, critical care. Are you a trained psychologist?
I was after I leave. I had a contract about 12 years, and after this 12 years, I decided to study psychology, and I was almost ready with my study, and the Bundeswehr asked me if I don't want to be in a mission, and I said yes, and so I was with my studying in Kunduz with a psychologist, and so I had a little more experience than the other psychologists, sergeants, and but I had also training. It's called peer training with a KSK. With a commando, with the special forces from the Bundeswehr, and that was all. Yeah.
Yeah, KSK training.
No, I had my peer training. Other this psychology training. I had this inside the camp with the KSK in Kalf.
So
That was not so special. It was a lot of comrades, but it was normal. Yes, not special commando or special forces or so on. It was a normal peer training.
and what did you ever go? No, you didn't go with to train in Germany on trainings with NATO forces.
No, not like the infantry. No.
And how was yeah? Did you ever read up about before you went to Afghanistan about how the Russians failed?
Oh yes. Of course. My dad he's very wie heißt das,
Well read.
Yes, he loves history, and he told me about this war and that the Russian failed in Afghanistan. And yes, I heard about it, but I thought, now we will make it better.
And
we failed also. Yes.
and did you ever see Russian equipment in Afghanistan?
Oh yes, especially in Kabul, there is cemetery of tanks. There are a lot of old, rusty tanks, broken tanks stayed, and some helicopters, old helicopters without any inside. And yeah, you see Kalashnikov from this time in the hands of Afghan people. Yes, things like that. Mm-hmm.
When did you feel that or stop being enthusiastic in Afghanistan? When did you?
Yeah. When we did start the enthusiasm?
No, you went in enthusiastic, no? You.
Yes, I think from the beginning on we were very enthusiastic, but after the years, it was only it was not enthusiastic because we recognize that it will get worse, and it will be hard to give them a freedom and stabilization. So in the beginning, we were always very enthusiastic. Yes.
And when did this stop? In the last mission?
I think it stopped. For me, it stopped in this year after I saw after leaving that the Bundeswehr were leaving Afghanistan, and after I saw the Taliban rushed inside the country and without any fight they captured Kabul. So this was the time I stopped my enthusiasm, and I was angry and yes, disappointed. But I think for my comrades it was maybe 2014 after ISAF changed to resolute support, and they have only the only mission for them was to train the Afghan soldiers and Afghan policemen, and this was always very heavy and hard, and yes, they said that they know that a lot of them will change the side when the Taliban will come back. So I think every soldier had his dead point. Yeah, I think it's different. Every soldier think different about this.
And didn't you think of that while being in Afghanistan, that this was happen, that the Taliban would come in? I mean, however, you weren't at all about this, that the moment we'd leave, that this would happen? Or so far? Or how did you see the situation? Did you leave and then, I mean, what did you know about the Taliban and where they were in Afghanistan? So
I know about the Taliban that they are cruel people. The most of them have no education. Most of them then are poor from a village. They have no really family. They were recruited and they were trained in Pakistan. And only the warlords or the leader of the Taliban or the commanders of the Taliban are well educated and mostly rich people. But the fighting Talibans were very, very poor people. And I think not very well educated. And so they can order everything and the fighters will do everything. And that's the most the greatest problem. Yeah, they have no feelings. They only see the Sharia as the holy grail for this country, and they will fight. They will fight to the end. They have nothing to lose, and that's a problem. And I didn't know this in the beginning. This was after some years I heard about that 85% of the Taliban fighters were Analphabeten. Weiß gar nicht, wie das auf Englisch heißt. They can't read and they can't write and know math and so on. And yes, that's a problem. And when I look on the whole situation, yes, maybe it was senseless because you see this country now with this poor women and with this cruel people, and maybe this was senseless. We had a lot of fallen comrades. We had a lot of we have a lot of fallen comrades. We have a lot of wounded soldiers, not only on the body, also on the mind. And it was a very expensive war with maybe around 18 billions of euro. And maybe this you can call it senseless, but I think every soldier has his own point of view about this. I can say I see one generation say so 20 years no war. I saw a lot of girls going to school. I saw a lot of women without burqa. I saw a lot of women without fear to go outside of the village, outside of the house, without fear to be punished from some Taliban Sittenwächter. I don't know the English word. And I saw the hope, and what is my very personal point of view is that we can handle this medical situation, and we save some lives of some children. And this is my little soul seal balsam. Yes, I don't know the English word. This is good for my heart. These little things are good for my heart. So it was not senseless. it was mostly senseless, but not worthless, I guess.
So the Taliban are 90% then guerrillas.
Yes.
And what kind of news did you watch? Were you able to watch in Kunduz?
The mostly news I watched was German television or some Western television, but we didn't watch Al Jazeera like this, but in this time we didn't know from an official side what is going on. Yeah, and in Germany it was, everything was easy. Only to Gutenberg, our defense minister said it is war there, and so it was Friede, Freude, Eierkuchen. It was, yes, it was a happy show. So after this, in Germany they saw it's not so easy there, but I heard only from my comrades, from Aufklär, the special forces, that told that they have some fights in this region or whatever, and we had a big fight in November in Shadare, and so we had this big fight. It was a biggest fight after the Second World War, and we won it. And but it was very bloody, and it was very heavy, and yeah. So what was this the question you asked me?
Did you talk a lot of with Afghan people about their culture?
Yes, of course. Yes. Especially in the beginning of the mission, I talked with a lot of Afghan people with translator, because mostly they didn't speak any English, but it was one situation. I was on the way in the field hospital, and on the door there was an old man sitting there with a long white beard, and he talked in German to me, and I was so astonished and perplexed. And he told me that a lot of German people was in Kabul. German people were in Kabul in the 60s, 70s, and that the land was very modern, and especially in the main cities and the province cities, the women wear short skirts, and there were a lot of beat music and so on, and was a hippie culture. And after this, when the Russian war began and the Taliban came 1992, on the top of the Afghanistan, everything changed, and I had some meetings with women, and they were always very friendly, and they showed me pictures of the family, or I had a translator. He showed me his family on the photo, or in Kunduz we had Afghan man. He he brought some stuff inside the camp. We ordered, and he was very friendly, and he brought some food inside, and it was very delicious. Yes, I saw different ethnies, the Hazara and Pashtun, and the faces are so different. And it's yeah, it was very good meetings. They were good meetings, yes.
But they didn't say. Yeah, they probably couldn't say you're so different than us. Why you're doing this, or
No, never. They always were very friendly. They said, "Oh, it's nice that you are here, and we will get freedom." And they were very enthusiastic that we will there. And yes, the first time I had trouble with an Afghan woman, it was 1 month ago, after a documentary. It is called Deutschland 9/11, and I was sitting with an Afghan woman on a table, and she was very rude to me. She said, "Why did you do this?" And you are so bad, and so on. And this was the first time, and this was horrible.
what did they tell you something about 9/11?
She said that's the Afghan woman. Or what do you mean? And she said, okay, after 9/11, you put the Taliban away, and then you had to leave Afghanistan. But this is too simple. It's too simple because we knew that the country need more stabilization and needs more time that we will be there. And yes, but I can understand her anger because her family is still in Kabul, and yes, but it's not my own fault. She was very personal, and maybe it was a fault of the governments or the NATO or whatever, but it was not my personal fault. Guilt fault, my personal guilt that the land is now in this situation. Yes.
And after coming home, when you got home from Afghanistan, how was this? Did you go straight home?
Yes, it was the most important thing, that you go home first to hug your family and put off the clothes and go to the supermarket and see this whole food and stuff and things, and the first step was always to meet the family. Yes.
And did you have to go back to the Bundeswehr or call them, or how long did you have while you're at home? How does this work? You just go home and then ciao Bundeswehr?
After every mission, you had some holidays, maybe 1 week, maybe 2. And after this, you go to your normal work. I worked in the hospital in Amberg and the hospital in Ulm. And it's your normal work to do. And after some time, you get a new order to go to the next mission. And after my last mission, I was ready with the Bundeswehr, and I wanted to study further, but it was not possible. I want a master study place, but I didn't get one, what is very bitter. And after 2 years, I was so tired about this, and so I now I'm working with very disabled people, and it's okay. And the Bundeswehr called me every year, this last year and this year every week maybe, because of the Corona situation, because of my education as an ICU nurse. And I said no, it's not possible because because of my chief, he said no, it's not possible, so not the problem. But it's okay now, and with my volunteer work with the Bund Deutscher Einsatzveteranen, I'm very satisfied, and yes.
But how did your picture change of, in what moment did your picture change of Afghanistan being in Germany?
Once again, the question, sorry.
How when did your picture of Afghanistan and the situation change in Germany?
I think it was this year it changed everything, and because in the time from 2011 to maybe last year, I didn't think often about Afghanistan. Only when I spoke with comrades, only when I was in Berlin or in Potsdam in Wald der Erinnerungen to think about my foreign comrades, but Afghanistan wasn't in my mind from 2011 to 20. Yes.
Is the Bundeswehr still Bürger in uniform, citizens in uniform? Are you allowed to take to not take orders?
I think we are still. I think the Bundeswehr are still citizens in uniform, but we are not longer in the middle of the country, in the community, because of the end of the Wehrpflicht. So it's only a voluntary army, and there are not only special people. They will go now to the army, I think, and I think that's the problem. But it's so you can leave the Bundeswehr, or you can put off the uniform, but the Bundeswehr will always be with you, and you will always wear the uniform. It's part of the life.
But what do you mean not part of the community?
If you see, it was a time you can go out with the uniform. You see a lot of soldiers in the city, in the supermarket, also on. And now it's totally different. You, especially in Berlin or Hamburg or Cologne, you didn't see very often soldiers in uniform, and so it's not the community has no focus of the Bundeswehr, because some like Gelöbnisse or Zapfenstreich. I don't know the English word. The ceremonies. They are inside of the camp, inside the Bendler block, inside the defense ministerium, and it's not outside, inside the community or so on, and that's the problem. And so we are on the border of the community, because we are not no longer in the middle. Yeah.
And you feel, or you hear from other soldiers that veterans, that they get disrespected or just because they're veterans or soldiers.
Yes, a lot of comrades told about this disrespectful people. They call them murder, or when they say, okay, I have PTSD, they say, okay, but you get a lot of money, or it's your own guilt, it's your job, and yeah, that's the big problem. But you met also nice people, and they say thank you for your service, but it's not so close anymore, like in the 80s, 90s. Yes.
And is there a problem of getting jobs for ex-Bundeswehr soldiers?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of companies, they like former soldiers, because they know they will work very effective. They will work hard. They will work with strategy, and yes, everything you learn in the army, it's good outside, and a lot of companies love this. To be on point, to be punctual, to be just in time, and so on, and they like this. Yes, it's not so the problem. Maybe you didn't have a good job before you go to the Bundeswehr, or you didn't learn inside the Bundeswehr special, or had a special education. So maybe you can get some trouble to get a job, but if you want, you will get a job. Yeah.
And were you ever allowed to disobey an order?
Pardon me?
Disobey an order in Bundeswehr.
I don't know this word you.
Because the German in the disobey, Befehlsverweigerung wegen dem Soldier
okay.
Law.
Okay. Do you think that I did this, or
yeah? Did you ever hear about this? Because other countries don't have it. The US doesn't have a soldier law.
I never heard about this. No, not really. Maybe you can discuss some orders, not in the fight, so there's no place for discussion, but maybe when you inside a mission and your chief said, okay, we will make this in this direction, and I said, no, maybe it's better to do this in on this way, but it's not Befehlsverweigerung. Yeah, but
Disobedience.
yes, I didn't hear about this. Not really, no.
Did you have to learn cleaning in the Bundeswehr? Cleaning your rooms?
Yes, okay, I had my own room before. I lived on my own, so it was not it was not the problem to learn this. And I'm a nurse, so you have to be always you have always a clinical hygienical standard. But I know a lot of young men that had problems how to make the bed, how to clean the room, how to wash your clothes, and but you could learn this during your Bundeswehr time, yes.
Did you in Afghanistan, did you sleep in the desert?
We were inside the camp, and the first time, 2002, we had only tents, and it was very hot. It was 50 degrees, and it was always sandy, and you have everywhere. You have in your mouth, everywhere you have always sand when you eat. And it's a little bit windy. Your teeth are was heißt knirschen? Your teeth biting on sand, and you have a lot of spiders and snakes, and like this in the desert. Yeah.
And you don't. Do you have PTSD?
No, I don't think so. I have my emotions and my feelings and my thoughts, but it doesn't
Affect.
take place in my normal life. So I have no triggers. I can sleep. I have no nightmares or like this. But PTSD is a very freaky illness, and maybe, I don't know, maybe in 10 years there's a situation I could not handle, and so maybe there will be the PTSD. I don't know, but now I think it's okay. I'm okay.
And do you have critique towards the Bundeswehr? To the government? Because the minister said at the end ceremony, at the Zapfenstreich, the soldiers, the vets should talk and say what's going on.
I think critiques to the government, of course, yes, because they sent us a mission and they don't know what they will do for us after the mission. Especially when you're out of the Bundeswehr, when you're ex-soldier and you have some problems. So it's not easy for them to get some help. And critique also is that they had for Afghanistan, they had no exit strategy. Strategy. They have had no exit strategy, meine Güte. And it was everything was in hurry, and especially with the Afghan workers, they have no strategy, and that's the big fault of the government. And the Bundeswehr, maybe they, my critics of Bundeswehr, I think the government, they have to give more money to the defense ministerium for more better equipment. We need our own security system. It means we need our own drones, because we cannot always be with the US Army. That's a problem. We need our own security system. We need our own helicopters. We need our own search and rescue staff like this. And so we need more money. Then we need an own veteran culture. It means we have no tradition in the Bundeswehr. We have no tradition. We had a tradition, but the society said it's like the Nazi tradition, and so, and it's not correct. But we need our own tradition, and maybe it would start with a Veterans Day, like in other countries. And on this day, that should be a special day for the government, that all ministers and staff will be there, and like a ceremony. I think it will be a good point of view for the society. Yes, and that's my critique. Yes, and that all members of the parliament, before they will send us in a mission, they have to be sure that this is a mission that we could win, or we could stand there, and that we have enough equipment and enough education and enough soldiers, and so we can handle the situation in this new mission. That's my critiques on the government. And
how
the
would they
critiques
do this?
Pardon me?
How would the Bundestag do this?
I think we need more money, and that when it's a new conflict in the world, that the parliament will do their homework and ask if this mission is this a mission to win? Can we go there without other partners from the NATO? So we can go on our own without the US Army, maybe, or so it's enough to go with the soldiers from the Europäischen Union, maybe, and that we can afford this, that Germany can afford this mission, because it's always very expensive to be in a mission. And yes, that's all these points they have to know before they will send us in a mission.
Do they consult you?
Pardon me?
Bundestag, do they consult you, talk to you?
They consult, yes, they asked our leader from the Bund Deutscher Einsatzveteranen to be a part on this evaluation, maybe evaluation, thank you, 20 years Afghanistan. And maybe there is a place that we can say what we will need for further missions. Yeah. That's it's for our little BTV. It's a big honor. Yes.
Do you get vouchers like in other countries, like a free ticket for trains or?
The soldiers on duty, yes, you can drive for free in the trains. This is very good, but for the veterans, it's nothing. We have nothing. No coupons, no vouchers for everything. Nothing.
And do you have to tell everybody about war?
Yes, they have to.
You?
I have to.
Yeah.
Is the question if I have ever talked about the war?
No, if you, I get asked all the time by everybody, by your surroundings, by your family, or strangers asking you.
Yeah. Of course, they ask me, my family, my close family, they ask me, my friends, they ask me, but it's astonishing that my colleagues of my work now they didn't ask anything about my job as a soldier and what was how it was in Afghanistan or so on. Now, after I was sometimes in television or I made some interviews, now they think about my job and what I had done there, and now they are interested. But before.
But then you see you a nurse. No. That's a very important people.
Yeah. Yes, I'm double checked. I'm a nurse. Clapping your hands for the nurses. And I was a soldier. Oh, the poor soldiers. Yes.
And yeah. What did your grandfather tell you about war?
He didn't speak much about his experiences because I think he had also a trauma. Maybe he didn't speak a lot about this, but in his last half year before he died, he talked about the war and how awful this was, and that he thought he killed Russian soldier directly, and to hiding under dead comrades and so on. I think he had a little trauma, and he put it very deep inside, and in his last half year, so it came out and he talked about. Yeah.
But do you hear stories like this from Afghanistan soldiers?
For me?
Do you hear stories about like this from Afghanistan soldiers?
Yes, not so often, but one or two comrades we talked about this, and they had the same experiences.
And do you talk? Have you ever met Mali veterans?
What friends?
Mali veterans.
Oh, Mali veterans. Yes, I met some in the hospital in Koblenz, because we from Bund Deutscher Einsatzveteranen we will make we made some Adventsaktion, Christmas Christmas actions, Christmas Adventsaktion, and so we go to the hospitals on the psychiatric ward, and we gave some little presents and little gifts, a pack with some sweets and so on. And so I had a soldier from Mali, and he has PTSD, and yes, he is his trauma is from shooting, and he is also very disappointed from the Bundeswehr, and also disappointed from his unit and from his comrades. Yeah. Pardon me, ich hab's nochmal bitte.
What equipment? What equipment is missing?
So I told you the equipment is a better uniform. It's on the way. It's okay. It's on the way, but a better uniform, like the U.S. Army, better vehicles, and better security vehicles, and like we need our own security, like drones or helicopters. In America, it's much better. This, and we need functional, not broken vehicles. Maybe from 10 tanks, 8 are broken. That's a big problem. We need a quicker bureaucracy in to getting new equipment. Sometimes it needs 20 years for some new weapons or whatever. This is in other countries much better. And yeah, I think in other countries the support of the veterans is in other countries much better.
Are you in contact with international soldiers, veterans?
Yes, we had some with the British Army, with the Dutch Army, with the Belgian Army, only 30,000 soldiers, with the French Army, with some comrades from the U.S. Army, and they are much better in the most things with to support veterans.
My mind is now blank with what I could ask you.
You can ask. Maybe we need a second meeting. So maybe I have no information for you, or you have new questions for me, and yeah.
Yeah,
I'm open. No problem. I'm open.
Great, or something what changed your life, or horrible that changed your life in Afghanistan?
Every mission, and it's Kosovo or Bosnia or Mali or whatever, every mission will change you. And I think I had another point of view about the Bundeswehr and the handling of our Afghan workers, and it was changed. Maybe you have to ask this question my friends or my family, so they can, I think they can decide in what is different now, what does they see different in me or whatever. I think I'm the same, but without the Afghan mission, I'm not on this place. Yeah, because of the Bund Deutscher Einsatzveteran, without my experience as a psychology sergeant, I was not with a BDV, I think. Yeah, so.
Were you single?
Yes. My relationships are broken, maybe from the missions or whatever. I don't know exactly.
Did they teach you how to? Because you said in your Bundeswehr what to tell the other girls, what to tell their boyfriends at home while they were on mission.
Not really, because in every family member knew about the mission, knew about the job what I have to do, and that's not the problem. But I know that a lot of my comrades, they didn't tell anything at home from the mission. Maybe it's too cruel, maybe it's too bloody, maybe it's too heavy, or maybe it was the cook in the camp, and he told his family members he was the greatest fighter.